It is real in a sense that dust can enter the camera. Dust can enter any camera. Hi guys, my name is Matti Sulanto and I'm a photographer. And I really do like and love my Ricoh GR3 and Ricoh GR3X cameras. And there are so many false accusations and rumors floating all over the place that I decided to rectify some of those false accusations. I feel that many of those rumors and accusations are spread by people who have never actually used either one of these cameras, or people who have used these but they have never actually bothered to learn how to properly use these cameras. But as always, this is only my experience and my opinion, and I don't expect all of you to agree. And if you don't agree, and even if you do agree, please do leave a comment down below. The first is the dust issue. Is it real? Well, it is real in a sense that dust can enter the camera. Dust can enter any camera. But is it any kind of a major real-world problem? I don't think it is. And to kind of prove that, I challenge you to find dust spots in any of the pictures that I'm showing you in this video. And these pictures are straight out of camera, nothing removed, nothing added, just some minor tonal adjustments made in Lightroom. And yes, both of these cameras have a few dust spots on the sensor, so you should be able to see them if they are any kind of a real-world problem. I know that there are certain situations where the dust will show up if there is any dust on the sensor. For example, if you shoot blue sky or any similar flat surface at f11 or f16. And if that is what you do all the time, then the GR3 or 3X is probably not your camera. Get another camera for that purpose. I shoot mostly street and other similar documentary type of situations, and I almost never go beyond f5.6. So the dust really is not any kind of a problem, and like I said, I challenge you to see any dust spots in the pictures that I'm showing you in this video. I think the whole dust issue is more of a mental problem than anything else. If you just keep on thinking that dust spot on the sensor, you probably can't do anything else. It blocks your creativity and you can't make pictures at all anymore. And I kind of understand it. You buy a $1,000 camera and after 6 months or 1 year there are a couple of dust spots on the sensor. It does not feel good. But then again, if the dust almost never shows up in your pictures, then who cares? If I, in very rare occasions, see a dust spot in my picture, it takes me, less than 30 seconds to clone out the dust spot and I'm done. So not a big deal. This is a snap shooting camera, this is a street camera, this is supposed to be a fun camera, so shoot the guts out of it and enjoy it, and do not worry too much. Then there is the viewfinder problem, or the lack of viewfinder. Is that a real problem? Well, I think that in some situations in bright light, a viewfinder would be really nice. Electronic viewfinder, that is. But I would not like to have a built-in electronic viewfinder in this camera because it would inevitably make the camera so much bigger. So a removable electronic viewfinder would be really nice. The kind of viewfinder that you could attach on the hot shoe. Then you could have it on or off depending on your shooting situation. In the past, I used to be very much against cameras that did not have a viewfinder, cameras like the GR3 for example, or the 3X. But when the first mirrorless cameras started to appear, the first compact mirrorless cameras like the first Olympus Pen series cameras and other similar cameras that did not have a viewfinder, Then I slowly learned to like those cameras and I slowly learned to shoot without a viewfinder. I figured I'm probably gonna lose some really interesting photo experiences, really interesting camera experiences and really awesome photo moments if I simply ignore all cameras that do not have a viewfinder. So I slowly learned to shoot without a viewfinder and slowly learned to like also these cameras. Having said that, I still prefer a camera with a viewfinder and I would like to have a viewfinder on every camera, but still today I do not ignore any camera only because it does not have a viewfinder. I think it's important to keep an open mind as a photographer regarding cameras and gear and regarding everything, because I think that way you're going to get better, more interesting photographs. And then there is the tiny battery problem. Or is it any problem? In my opinion, it's not any kind of a real-world problem. Yes, you can drain the battery very quickly. If you leave the camera on for a few hours, the battery will go flat very quickly. However, in my type of shooting, in my style of shooting, the battery easily lasts 1 full day of street shooting, maybe even 2 full days. Ever since I started using mirrorless cameras, I learned to switch the camera off whenever I'm not taking pictures actively. Those early mirrorless cameras also had a very poor battery life. And I do the same thing with the Ricoh. And the power up time is super quickly. This camera is very responsive. I have never missed a shot because my camera was turned off. Another good way to save some battery is to program one of these buttons so that you can turn the screen on and off with the one press of a button. If your shoot or assignment requires for you to have your camera powered on and standby for several hours, then I think this camera is simply not the right tool for the job. The battery size or battery life with this camera has never been any kind of a major problem for me after I learned how to properly use this camera and appreciate its tiny size. And then the fixed screen, which seems to be a turn-off for many. I think it's not a major real-world problem. However, I do agree that a tilt screen would be very nice to have. It would be so convenient in some low angle or high angle situations. However, I also think it would make the camera bigger, it would make the camera more complex to use. And I think one of the big upsides of this camera is that it's so simple. There are no unnecessary features or bells and whistles that would sometimes maybe hold you back or slow your action with the camera. And no camera is perfect, of course. There are always some compromises. A tilt screen would make the camera bigger, more complex, and like I already said, in some situations it would slow you down because you would fumble with the screen and miss the shot. So I'd rather take this fixed screen and very, very simple design that is designed so well to work in street and documentary situations. And one more thing regarding the screen and the missing viewfinder. You can boost the brightness of the screen in bright light and make your compositions easier that way if you want. I think the Ricoh GR3 and the GR3X are unique cameras. They have a big sensor and big image quality in a tiny, tiny size. And I think if you start adding viewfinders, tilt screens, bigger batteries and all kinds of features, you're going to end up with a completely different camera. And that camera would be bigger, heavier and whatnot. And I think then you would lose the uniqueness of these cameras. There are already so many other cameras with interchangeable lenses, bigger batteries, viewfinders, tilt screens and all those features. And I think Ricoh definitely should preserve the unique design and not go big time with additional features that would only ruin the compact, unique form factor and big image quality in tiny size. I think it's a really bold decision to make a camera like this, such a specific camera for a specific user group. And I think we need more designs like this, more niche cameras. I know they might not be economically viable, but still. I mean, most modern cameras are really good, but they are also very generic. They try to be a camera for everyone, but they are not necessarily the best camera for any specific purpose because they try to please everyone. These two cameras, the Ricoh GR3 and the 3X, they try to be the best for snap shooting, street photography, and even for some documentary work. And in my opinion, these work for those genres, these work better than most cameras. And I have certainly captured some memorable, unique pictures with these two cameras because of their simple usability, tiny size, and big image quality, even in some challenging conditions. And I think every camera is different, and you can't expect to shoot the same way on two completely different cameras. My Ricoh cameras are not set up the same way as my Sony a7 IV, for example, and I don't even shoot the same way on both cameras. And if I was shooting the same way on this one as I shoot on my Sony, I would probably also dislike the camera and curse some of the features or missing features. So for your user experience and the end result, the photos, I think it's very, very important to learn to use your cameras because every camera is different. This is all I have for you today. Please do leave your opinion in the comments down below. I'd like to read those, but please do also remember to be polite. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little video, and if you enjoyed this a lot, please do consider buying me a cup of coffee. There's a link down below for that. If you don't live in Finland, your support means a lot to me and it makes it possible for me to make more videos for you guys. Thanks, and I'll definitely see you in the next video.